I don't know how many of you have experienced leaving your land and the implications that it entails. How many of you?
Depends on when you're, how far you have to travel.
Yeah, what's your mode of travel?
In my case, since I was a child, I have gone from one place to another. I remember that my childhood was spent at least 4 towns before I attended the middle school.
Oh, wow.
Due to my parents' moves, they were teachers in elementary school. These changes from one place to another have implications for our relationships and also in our emotional stability and our work stability. But the implications of intra-country migration are not the same as those of migration to other countries, especially regarding cultural and legal challenges. We are experiencing this in our body, in our lives. Regarding the legal aspect, more than a week ago in the United States, it was reported that the Trump administration ordered migrants in the process of obtaining a green card to return to their country of origin to continue the process. What do you think about Patricia and me?
It's wrong for everybody.
However, some lawyers have challenged the current government's mandate. Thanks be to God. This situation is part of the drastic changes in immigration enforcement in Florida and the country in the last year. Florida leads the nation in ICE arrests. Yes. Due to more than 287 agreements between Florida local enforcement agencies and ICE. But the most aggressive action in Florida is that of the Florida Highway Patrol.
Highway patrol.
So take care as us when you are traveling by car. Statistics show that at least 25% of those arrested had not committed any crime, but had been charged with minor crimes, such as driving without a driver's license, or have been stopped at traffic stop for having Hispanic features. How can we change this face?
Yeah, that's supposed to be against the law.
This hair, these eyes, this small height. You are Hispanic people, right? And this doesn't happen with white drivers. Well, maybe sometimes. But in the midst of these situations, migrants are not alone. They are God's people. We are God's people, and God accompanies His people and gives them hope. I invite you to reflect on migration as hope based on the texts we have read today. In first place, I would like to talk about the causes of forced migration. The text of Genesis 11:27 through 32 teaches that Abraham did not leave his homeland of his own free will, but by his father's decision. Who was the father of Abraham? Terah, right? This is how the text says. Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarah, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. One would expect that this decision had been made by consensus. Hey, Patricia, would you like to come with me to be a pastor at Emmanuel Mennonite Church? No, it was the question more than 3 years ago.
I'm what I said.
But it is possible. But it is possible that it was due to a patriarchal system that respected the voice of the patriarch, the head of the family clan. Maybe I was the head of the family clan. Patricia, I'm so sorry. And Terah planned to reach the land of Canaan. He left from Ur, the wealthy city of the Chaldeans, one of the major centers of ancient civilization, described as the most important commercial capital the world has known until then. Leaving this city or this state of Ur must not have been easy for Terah and his family. I don't know if it's correct, the pronunciation. Terah is in Spanish is Tare, the Terah, I don't know. But the question arises, what compelled Terah to take his family and live a prosperous and wealthy state? The answer is that Terah wanted the best for him and his family. And as is often the case, Terah and his family's migration was not easy. Surely there were obstacles and challenges on the way to Canaan. Terah no longer had enough strength to continue the journey. But what about Abraham? Abraham could not stay in Canaan because of a famine and economic crisis that affected the most vulnerable people. Abraham and his family then migrated to Egypt. It's very interesting. The first migration was from Ur. And now they are going to Egypt. To an empire that offered job opportunities. No? Although in conditions of exploitation and abuse against women. So Abraham created a strategy for him and Sarah to survive in that context in Egypt. Do you remember it? Please, Sarah, don't say that you are my wife. You are my sister. But you know the reasons for creating this strategy. Survive. But God's voice provides hope for them. I imagine that Abraham and his family encouraged and supported each other, just as happens today in migrant families. Don't concern Marco, don't concern Johanna. Astudillo's family, an example. Don't concern Fabiola. Don't worry.
Oh, don't worry.
Don't worry.
Be concerned.
Don't worry. Because God's voice provides hope for you, for all of you. In this way, they maintain hope as migrants people. But it is striking that in all that journey, Abraham heard the voice of God. The text doesn't tell us how, but it says that. Example, in Genesis 12, verse 1, God has said to Abraham, and I will bless you. Or in Genesis 12:7, the Lord appeared to Abraham and said to him, to your descendants I will give this land. Or in Genesis 13, verse 4, he called on the name of the Lord. Or in Genesis 13, verses 14 and 15, all the land you see I will give to you, and I will make your seed as the dust of the earth. So it was very important for Abraham and his family, the voice of God in the journey. Sure, people that are related with us in this congregation that are migrants people have been experienced this voice of God in their lives. But migration is not only to another kingdom, but to another order. Abraham and his family begin to find hope as they emerge from a world of social decay and ecological imbalance. The other situation before chapter 12 is when another part of humanity wanted to globalize the rest under an unified system of domination. You remember? Remember building a tower that touched the sky? All the nations under the same system of domination. So when we are thinking about migration, when we are thinking about this experience of Abraham and his family, we need to take into account this situation before. It is in Genesis 11, right? The building a tower. And finally, when humanity was destroyed because the ecological imbalance. You remember this text? Genesis 7. We can be deduced, as can be deduced from the flood, el diluvio. Right? And that is what people who migrate from one country to another experience today. Therefore, the migration of Abraham and his family is presented as a form of survival that brings hope. Migration holds onto the hope God gives to humanity by creating a new creation and a new humanity in Jesus Christ. A new creation and a new humanity based on relationships of equity and justice, and on the construction of peace. That was the hope that marked the migratory path of Abraham and his family. So, brothers and sisters, migration continues to challenge not only those who leave their land, but also those who receive them. One initiative among those who receive them is the Gainesville Immigrant Neighbor Inclusion Initiative, GINI, which has been collecting signatures from Alachua County residents to prevent ICE from operating in the city. Thanks be to God for this organization. Likewise, to denounce the discriminate and destructive arrests of migrants. In addition, urge elected leaders to work for the safety and inclusion of immigrants. Thanks be to God for these efforts. The church is not a stranger to that challenge either. In this sense, Emmanuel Mennonite Church, together with other churches, institutions, and individuals, has created the Interfaith Alliance for Immigrant Justice. You remember that, right?
The meeting tomorrow.
To support migrants, including Latinos, in an interdisciplinary way through economic resources, legal support, attention to basic needs, and education for their children. Jeannie and Miriam can testify about it, right? How good that the church is not indifferent to the situation of migrants. Finally, it must be recognized that the text of Genesis is not merely an account of a family's migration. The text of Genesis is also a metaphor that invites the people of God to a constant migration if they want to have hope. The text invites us to migrate from systems that threaten the lives of human beings and creation and hinder peaceful and just relations among human beings. In the text, we hear the voice of God, which gives us hope to set out on the journey to the promised land. What is the promised land for us? Brothers and sisters, let us remain steadfast in our commitment to migrants and also in our commitment to be migrants from systems that take life to others that promote and protect it. We are migrants. And I think that the Bible remembers us often that we are migrants in this land. Because we are looking the best land. We, in our commitment to be migrants from systems that take life to others that promote and protect it, to be migrants, as Romans 4:18 says. To be migrants is to believe in hope against hope. To believe in hope against hope. Amen.